like we have numbers, we have string, list, tuple and dictionary. So if I talk about the data type numbers, that means it has three subcategories, that is int, float and complex. So if I say that the age of a person, it is of number type. If I say 40 students in a class, so again the 40 is a numeral data. If I say a child has scored 30.5 in mathematics, then it is a again numeral type of data, but 30.5 is a float type. Similarly, we have the complex type of data. This complex numerical thing is basically used in collecting the scientific data. Since you all are mathematical students and you must have read about the complex numbers also, so that is the complex numbers. Next we have string, list, tuple and dictionary. So all these type of data types we are going to do today. Let's start with the numbers in depth. Alright, so as I told you that numbers are having three subcategories, integers. Then within the integers we have two more subcategories, that is integers and booleans. So integers, as I told you that integer means any number, any positive number or negative, that is 5, 10, 50, 105 and any other. Similarly, boolean, if you remember, we revised the boolean in the last class also, that boolean is a type of numeral type of data where we can have only two possible values. I hope you must be remembering, that is true or false. Please remember that whenever we write down the literal as true or false, the T and F should be capital, else your interpreter will not recognize these two literals. So true and false you must be remembering. If your variable can have the value either in true or false, then we declare that variable as of type booleans. Next is floating point number. Any number with the decimal value is floating point number. And then we have complex numbers. In complex numbers we have, it is divided into two parts. One is real number and imaginary number. Now let us see the integer in depth. So two integers, it is normal integer representation of the whole numbers. So any number, let us do it quickly since we have done this concept in class 11th also. So we can have any big or small integer value, whether it is positive or negative. So any big or small number, either positive or negative, is known as integer. Just remember one thing, that whole number, it should not have a decimal part into it, so it becomes integer. Next we have booleans. As I told you, we have only two possible values, either true or false. So the value of true is 1 and the value of false is 0 respectively. We have done the Boolean algebra in class 11th also, so I hope you must be remembering. Alright, let's proceed further. Then we have a floating point number. Floating point number, let's do it quickly, this thing also. Floating point number are mainly used for storing values like distance, area, temperature, etc. Means whereby we have a fractional part in our data. So whenever we have to store our data into fractional part or in decimal form, we make use of floating point numbers. I hope it must be clear. Now whenever we deal with floating point numbers, we have certain advantages and disadvantages. Now let us quickly see what are the advantages. Since the floating point numbers deals with the fractional part, that means we can represent the data in between two numbers. For example, if I say the number between 2 to 3, so 2 to 3, this 2 is integer, this 3 is integer. But if I have to represent a value in between 2 and 3, then what? Then integer won't work here. So I need to show it may be 2.5, it may be 2.6, it may be 2.8, or it may be any other value in between 2 to 3. So in that case, integer will not be a lifesaver. We have to go with floating point number. Alright, so this is the one advantage, that it represents the values between the integers. And second thing, it can represent much greater range of value. So it has a large range of value as compared to integer. Must be clear. Next, now we have one disadvantage also. One disadvantage, let us see what is it. It is slower than integer. Since it has a large capacity, it can store a value in between two given numbers, but it is slower. Now what is the reason behind why it is slower? Can you answer me? Please give your answer in your comment box or in the Google Classroom. I'll wait for your answer, children. Alright, now in Python it is showing 15 digit precision, means we can have this 15 decimals after, we can have 15 digits after decimal. So it is 15 digit precision. Let us go to complex numbers. Now complex numbers, as I told you that a complex number is divided into two parts, a plus bj. So where a is real part and j is imaginary part. Alright, now see the examples here. 0 plus 6j, 2.5 plus 3j. So this 2.5 is a real part, and please do remember that real and imaginary both parts are of type float. So if I say 0, so 0 is nothing a integer nor a floating point. So if I say 2 plus 3j, so your interpreter will read this 2 as 2.0 plus 3j. Alright, so this is how we have stored the value. You see, a is equals to 4 plus 5j. So this 4 is real part and 5j is imaginary part. Alright, now print a. So this a will print as 4 plus 5j. Similarly, this is another example. If I say b is equals to 0 plus 2j, so since 0 has no value, so it will be showing the output as 2j. I hope the output must be clear. So these are the complex number examples. You can try these examples. Alright, one more thing, if you want to see only the real part and only the imaginary part, then we have these two keywords. So this a dot real, if I declare a is equals to 1 plus 3.554j, so if I say print a dot real, so it will show only the real part, and if I say print a dot image, it will show only me the, sorry, this complete thing will be shown on the screen, that is 3.54j. Now you must have observed one thing, that since I stored a is equals to 1, but while showing you the printout, it is showing you 1.0, as I told you in the previous slide, that even if I write 2, it will be taken it as 2.0. Alright, let's proceed. The next is string type data. So string type data, we have already done the strings also. What are strings? Strings are the sequence of Unicode characters. Unicode supports every character from every language. Again, this we all have already done this. So following are the legal strings in Python. Learning 135, these are special symbols, and this is Bharat in Hindi language. So one thing is common in all these examples is that all of these sequence of characters are enclosed within double quotation marks. So that is an identification of a string, that anything which is enclosed in double quotation or single quotation or triple quotes is considered as string. Alright, now every character in string is at a particular position called index. You must be remembering what is an index. So index means, index tells you what is the position of a given character in a given string. So, and index always starts with 0. The first character will be at index 0 and so on. So when we talk about index, we have two type of indexing, that is forward indexing and backward indexing. So let us take an example here. See, if I say a string welcome, alright, if I say welcome, so now you can see here W, the first character is at 0th place, the index value for the first character is 0, the index value of second character is 1, the index of third character is 2, the index of fourth character is 3, and so on. So the index of last character in a string would always be n minus 1. Now what is n here? N is, what is n? N is length of string. So if the length of a string is 7, in this example 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the total number of characters in the string welcome is 7. So the last index number for the last character in a string is 6, that is n minus 1. Alright, and this is the backward indexing. Backward indexing, you must be remembering that it starts from the last character and it is in negative. So this last character E would have -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -6, -7 and so on. So this is forward indexing and backward indexing. Alright, let's continue with the next list data type. Alright, list, you must be remembering that it was quite an interesting data type. I still remember you all enjoyed doing your list data type. We did so many programs on list. So let's have a quick recap of what we did in class 11th also. So a list in Python represents a list of comma separated value. Remember, comma separated values means in case of list we may have more than one value and all those values are separated by comma. Alright, and the second thing was that all the values of the list are enclosed within square brackets. Remember these kind of square brackets, and we used to write down the values in square brackets. This is mutable, that is the values are changeable, means once we have stored the values in the list, it can also be changed later on if required. Alright, now let us see few examples quickly. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. This is a integer list. All the values are of type integer. Next, A in single quotes, comma, E in single quotes, O, I, U. So this is again the list of characters, and you can see all elements are separated by comma and individual character is enclosed in single quotation marks. So it is a list of characters. Next, you can see this is mixed. These are the mixed values, means we may have the mixed values in list also. You must be remembering that there is no limitation of same type of data in case of list data type. We may have string value, we may have integer value, and we may have a float value also. All type of values are there in list data type. So this is an advantage of list data type. That is why I suppose we all feel very much comfortable while using list data type, because it does not put you the restriction of the same type of data every time we store the data into it. Alright, now these are some more examples. Now we have taken one variable family. Here we have mom, dad, sister and brother. So all these are string type of data enclosed in double quotation marks, separated by comma, enclosed in square brackets. Print family. So if I write print family only, it will show me the entire list in the list form. Please do remember, since it is a list, so the output will also be shown you in the form of a list. Alright, Tommy in family. Alright, now what would be the output? See, in is a membership operator. You must be remembering we did the in operator while doing operators in the previous classes. So in is a membership operator. It checks for whether this particular string exists in this list or not. So here we are looking for this particular string in the list family. So this in will give you true if this particular string exists in the family. So does Tommy exist in family? No. So the answer would be false. If I write dad in family, the answer would be true, of course. Why? Because dad is given in the family list. Next we have a tuple data type. Now tuples, remember what are tuples? Tuples are, this is basically a list which cannot be changed. Alright, so you remember list is mutable, wherever tuples are immutable, that is they cannot be changed later on. Tuples are defined inside parentheses and values separated by comma. So this is one common thing between list and tuple, that the values are separated by comma, but these are enclosed in parentheses and not in the square brackets. Now let us see, we have taken this example, favorites, blue, cricket, gajar ka halwa, all these are these three different string separated by comma, enclosed in parentheses or round bracket. Next example, student is equals to 1. See, this is here again we have a mixed data type, we have a heterogeneous data. It is not compulsory that we are having only homogeneous data, we may have heterogeneous data as well in case of tuple. So 1 is numeric, Amar is string, and 97.5 is a float type of data. So if I print favorites, it will be showing me all the values of the tuple favorite, and if I print student, it will print me